Our first guest is no stranger to pushing the limits physically, mentally, and emotionally. Dianette Wells is an elite mountaineer who's climbed all 7 summits and a familiar face when some of the world's most grueling televised competitions. But her latest journey might just be her most inspiring yet. In her new memoir, Another Step Up the Mountain, A Journey of Courage, the mother of 3 opens up about the personal mountains she's had to climb, grappling with profound loss, rediscovering purpose, and redefining what it means to live with grit and grace. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So amazing. Is this your first book that you've written, or?
It is.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So when did you first realize that climbing and extreme sports was something that truly called to you?
Upon reaching my first summit, which was Mount Whitney back in 1998 with 10 of my amazing friends, and it just hit me that I wanted more.
And when was that? Was this before you were a mom, or no?
I had 3 children at the time.
Okay.
I think my littlest was 1 or 2, and it was actually a break from 3 kids, and but I got home and I just wanted more.
Gosh, had you always been an adrenaline junkie, as people call it, or what was it like growing up?
I grew up in very flat La Mirada, California. You know, the biggest thrill was trying to get lost on my bicycle. And now I was a cheerleader, and I couldn't even run around the block when I first got married. I didn't really know what running shoes were. I didn't know the difference between a mountain bike or a road bike. It just kind of happened. But once I was a mom.
Wow. And your book, Another Step Up the Mountain, deals with a lot of lessons learned from a life of climbing. So what did it offer you?
Freedom. Freedom and the challenge of, will I summit this? Because you never know whether you're on a start line or, the trailhead of a mountain. There's no guarantee you're going to summit or that you'll even finish or get to the finish line. But the point is, you show up to the start line. Everybody's equal on that start line, and that's the adventure of it. You don't know, and you see where you go from there.
Gosh, oh, I love that. Everyone's at the start line. Finding your Everest is a phrase that you talk about a lot in this book. So tell me what that means for you.
I mean, for me, what is your Everest? It can be the literal mountain of Everest, or it can be what's the toughest thing you're dealing with on any given day, and how do you get out of bed in the morning, especially when you faced a horrible tragedy. What are the steps that you take? For me, it was I had a bird feeder outside, and so no matter what, I had to feed those birds, which as soon as fresh air hits you, it's okay, I can face whatever today brings, and it's little steps and tying little pieces of daily joy together until you've had a joyful day.
Is that kind of how it started then, once you got hooked into getting out and summiting? Were you always looking for that next Everest, if you will, that next challenge?
Probably. I mean, the thing is, once you get hooked on something, and for me it was at the time climbing, which then led to adventure racing. I mean, during the race, you're usually saying with your teammates, oh, this is my last one, I'm never doing this again. And within 24 hours of the finish line, everyone's talking about the next thing they're signed up for. And that's how I would get through life is, okay, what's the next thing? And at the same time, raising 3 amazing, fun, very adventurous kids. So I thought it was a great modeling for them that anything is possible. I was a housewife with no athletic ability, and look what I was able to do, and my kids saw that. So.
Oh, you are such a role model. And you start the book with your own Everest, as you've touched on, the death of your adult son Johnny, doing what he loved, base jumping. So how did you find the strength to go on?
Again, day by day, sometimes it was hour by hour, and those amazing women who climbed Whitney with me, I was so lucky to have such a support system. And then again, it was tying little moments of joy together. And you hit a time where, the grieving period is different for everyone, but when someone would mention Johnny's name, instead of bursting into tears or like I'm about to now, but it becomes of, oh, remember that funny story? Oh, remember when he did this? And when you can start really celebrating his life and how amazing it was, even though it was short, he lived an amazing life, and I know I'll see him again someday, and I want him to, say, good job, Mom. Like, you didn't give up and you kept living, and I think we're here to live a joyous, purpose-led life, not to be sad.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for other people that are dealing with, a loss like you are, and we're so sorry again for your loss?
Just on the news this morning, so many, children who've passed. Never give up. Don't give up. Don't give in, and just find the joy. Fill a bird feeder every day. Don't let those birds down. Fill up that feeder. Get outside. That's the most important thing. If you can be outside in fresh air, whether it's just walking around the block, sitting in your front yard, get a dog, walk it. Just don't give up. Never give up.
Never give up. And you were very upfront in this book about the tug and pull of motherhood, starting that first climb when you are a mom. And young, yes, the mom guilt that so many people feel. So versus wanting and needing to do these climbs and races and not wanting to, not do what you enjoy. So tell me more about that tug and pull.
It was just something inside of me. If I could have stopped racing or climbing and just been that perfect mom who just baked cookies and sat at home, I'm sure my kids would have been thrilled with that, but I couldn't, and I needed to pursue my passions. But I was also a very devoted mom. I still am today, and a grandmother. I'm very devoted, but just because we're moms doesn't mean we have to lose our identity or forget why we're here on this planet or give up our dreams.
Definitely. And what can the rest of us learn about how we see motherhood in this country? Because a lot of times it is, like you said, sitting home, baking those cookies, and so still going after our passions and dreams.
Just because you gain the title of mom does not mean you give up the title of yourself. And what I've seen long term, now that my kids are adults, is that it was a good example for them. While they might say to my face, how could you leave and go climb, to their friends, they were bragging about it behind my back. So, and my kids are fearless. All three of them lived and live amazingly fearless lives, and which is not how I grew up. So I feel like, okay, job done as a mom. I raised them how I wanted to.
Amazing. If you had to pick your favorite climb or anything like that, or give us the top three, what would those be?
Okay, well, very favorite thing ever was Eco Challenge Fiji in 2002. That
Whoa.
one. That was probably number one. Number two, Everest. And number three, I'd say, I guess Whitney, because I keep going back to it. This October 1st actually will be my 17th or 18th, I've lost count, climb of it. So
the fact that you've lost count is pretty amazing. For you, what's your next mountain to climb?
Well, besides the physical one of Whitney, hopefully Mount Temp in, where is it, Utah, and, making my flight this afternoon.
It can even be small, like you said, like small things like that. When people read your book, what do you want the takeaway to be? Is this a book just for someone that's an elite mountaineer like yourself, or what do you want the takeaway?
No, it's not. I don't know that's necessarily just for sports people. I want people to realize anything is possible. If this housewife with 3 kids can learn the difference between a mountain bike and road bike and climb the 7 summits and race all over the world, anything is possible. And to never give up. No matter how dark things look, never give up.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today. We
Thank
really
you for having
appreciate
me.
your time.